Welcome to the Becoming Mind podcast, where we have real conversations about mental wellness, mindset, leadership, and faith. Because the truth is, the life we build starts with the mind we develop. I'm Coach Rhonda, and this space is about strengthening your mind for the journey of becoming. All right, Christian. So tell us what you wrote in your assignment about teenagers not being negatively impacted in their mental health in regards to social media.
I wrote about social media not being harmful to a teen's mental health, and I said that it can be harmful, but to some people it might not because of how they act around it. Like, if someone that takes things in easily sees a challenge that seems interesting, they might have a higher chance of doing it than someone that that processes stuff more and just doesn't rush to do it, which could make them not more at risk to doing stuff like that. Also, like peer pressure and just anything that could harm them negatively. I also said that it can benefit them from the ways of learning new stuff through social media and things that can improve their mental health and take things off of stuff that could negatively affect their mental health. So
Okay, so going back to what you said in the beginning, where you said depending on the youth would determine if they would make a decision to engage in the challenge or not. What do you think that the youth has, what do you think makes the difference in regards to that youth not taking the challenge or doing the challenge? What is it about that youth would make them different than somebody else?
Their friend groups or how they act around people trying to fit in.
So you feel like they can be influenced by the individuals that they are around to do certain things? Mm-hmm. So personally, what do you think keeps you from doing those challenges?
You.
Okay, so you said me. What about me helps you to make that decision?
How I've been raised and how, since you're a mental health counselor, or you work with teens, and since I'm a teen, I can use what you say to the teens that come to you every day, and I can use that to kind of hold me down, anchor me from going into the challenges too easy and not thinking it through, to think it could possibly harm me.
So when you think about some of the things that, and I'm sure it's not just me, but things that you've learned from other adults or your parents, your dad and I, what are some of the takeaways that you have gained or learned from listening to the adults in your life?
To do things with the right mind and not force things and wait for things to happen instead of just trying, like I said, to force things.
Okay, so if I had to put what you just said in words, is for you to pause, think about it, not be impulsive, and possibly even think about the consequences that might come along with the decisions that you make. Okay, Christian, so to wrap this up, what one piece of advice would you give to teenagers your age?
It's okay to hesitate.
And what does that mean when you say it's okay to hesitate?
It's okay to not push things and just go fast at something, like making a decision that you might regret.
That you might regret? Okay, so you mean, like we said before, think before you do it, think of the consequences that may come with the actions. All right, and the last question is, where do you feel like you get your standards for living?
My friends, family, and the community.
And how would you describe community?
helping people through you or just through the church.
So thank you, Christian, for sharing your thoughts as a teenager about how social media can positively and negatively impact our youth. Okay, so before we sign off, I did have another question that I wanted to ask Christian as a 15-year-old teenager. What advice or suggestions would you give a parent about their teenager and social media? Or let me rephrase that. Do you think that it is an invasion of a teenager's privacy if a parent has access to their social media and their electronic devices?
No.
And why do you think not? What do you think? How do you think that helps the teenager?
Because some teenagers think it's embarrassing if their parents know everything about them. So they try to keep their social media away. But if a parent knows that they can prevent different things from happening, like multiple things from getting called out for anything, because people will just say anything just to hurt you or bring you down.
So as a teenager, what have you observed that other teenagers that may have been in a bad situation when it comes to social media, what have you seen? What things have you seen happen?
They just start acting different, like cussing more, or just start cussing.
Okay.
And they never did before. I mean, just have mood swings, and like you could be their closest friend, they could still like switch up on you and start yelling at you even though you did nothing wrong.
And how do you think that that's an effect from social media?
I think it is because of they never acted that way before, even when they had social media. But like, because it could still be from a parent or from a close friend that said it, but it could mostly come from social media. If you know that person's like usually mostly on social media and not just doing, I don't know what other stuff they could be doing. But
so can you think of an example of where somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a friend of yours, but where a teenager was impacted negatively by social media? Like, what was it that they saw? What was it that they engaged in because of social media that changed who they were?
An example? Mm-hmm. So it don't have to be true or just...
No, I mean, even if it's just a scenario.
Like, say if someone saw something, like, say someone saw something that they wanted, or like they saw someone that looked good and had like the perfect body and they wanted it too, then they might try to strive for that and not realize that they're hurting themselves in the process, and this, instead of benefiting them and making them look more like that, it's making them look even worse.
Okay. So the scenario that you're describing is usually it would be a female, but there are some young men who go on social media and they may see somebody looking athletic and want to look like them, or a female who sees somebody who is what they consider to be pretty and have, like you said, the perfect body, and so they do different things that could be harmful to themselves to try to get or to try to look like the person that they see on social media. Do you know what some of those things are that they might try to do?
Not really.
Okay, so from a mental health professional standpoint, you have times where young girls may starve themselves because they feel like they're overweight when they really aren't overweight. You may have, with the young men, some of them engage in physical activity to where they may strain their bodies and try to do excessive workouts and excessive exercising so that they can try to build that body and muscle mass that they may see somebody else doing. And so it could tear their bodies up physically. And we know that if you don't eat, such as going back to the females, food is our fuel, is our energy, and so it can impact not just their physical but also their mental health. So to wrap this up, when you think about as a teenager, how do you think, or what are your expectations from a parent when it comes to social media?
So what I think is that a parent should first ask them what they do the most on social media, whether that is to post or just scroll through the platform to just find videos that they find relatable, funny, or just entertaining.
Okay. And in regards to social media, for a parent to be supportive, do you feel like a parent a parent is doing too much if they are watching over your shoulders, constantly looking at what you're doing? What do you think a parent should do in regards to that?
I think a parent should be supportive because as a teen, the teen usually wants a parent to trust them more and not just be helping early, because then the teen could sometimes lose the trust in their parent and not want to do things with the family no more because of how the parent decides to act with them, even though the teen might have actually been doing something helpful to them and not something that could destroy their mental health.
Do you think a lot of parents automatically accuse their teenagers of doing something negative because of what other teenagers are doing? Have you seen that, or have you heard any of your peers mention oh, my mom is a helicopter mom, or my mom and dad, they're always in my business? Is that normal conversation for teenagers?
No.
Not amongst your peers?
Yeah.
Okay. So just looking up some questions as an adult that we can ask is, can we agree on healthy boundaries for social media use? Will you help, and this is the teenager asking this, will you help me understand how to stay safe online? And then can we talk about what is okay and not okay to post? So that's questions that a teenager can ask a parent to help them so that they are safe on social media. And as a parent, we want to ask questions of, how does social media make you feel? Do you know how to protect your privacy and safety online? And does what you post reflect who you really want to be? And as Christian mentioned earlier, a lot of times individuals are on social media, and it's not just teenagers. We have adults that go on social media and we may look at what somebody else is doing and want to have the life that they're having. But we also know that most individuals who post on social media, they don't necessarily post the bad things. So a lot of times it's like they're wearing a mask and they don't disclose what the negative things that might be going on in their lives. And that's fine, because we don't want to put all of that on social media. But also when we're looking at it, we don't want to compare our journey to their journey, because we don't know what actually is going on behind closed doors. So we want to be mindful of that, not to have the enemy of comparison to rise up, because we know comparison steals joy. Comparison doesn't allow us to be happy. It doesn't allow us to be joyful. It doesn't allow us to enjoy life, because it keeps us in bondage to where we are striving to be like somebody else, and that takes away the fun in life. So I appreciate Christian, my 15-year-old, my baby boy, our baby boy, he's not mine by myself, for being brave, being bold, being courageous to jump on this video. It was spontaneous. We were talking about a paper. Well, I was asking him about school, and he was telling me about 2 assignments that he had, and this was one of them. So I was like, hey, great topic. Let's talk about it for social media and teenagers. So I am grateful that he gave me his yes. As you go through this journey, be grounded, be focused, be intentional, and be unapologetic.